At the forward operating bases that missions are operated from, recreation time was, and is, very limited. Here we were, over 150,000 members of the U.S. Armed Forces, parked on a stretch of Iraqi desert no one had occupied for years. Not exactly a prime location, but the camels seemed to like it. When we drove outside the wire, our term for leaving the safety of our forward operating base, we had nothing except what we could carry with us. Passing time was an eternal struggle between reading the same paperback novel for the 5th time and staring into the sky for hours. Our cloud naming contests were epic. In the end, comic books changed all that for me. Inside a care package from one of the many charitable groups in support of troops, I found an issue of Ultimate X-Men. This new take on the classic mutant team intrigued me. Why did they all have black costumes? Why did the X-Men finally act like cool teenagers? And most importantly, why did Wolverine have a goatee? I needed to know how the story ended, so I immediately penned a letter to my parents asking for subscriptions to all the Marvel Ultimate Universe titles, and to have the issues shipped to me in Iraq. Ever since then, comic books and soldiers have been tied together in my life. It's the same link that led me to create my annual comic drive for service members with Operation Gratitude. 4 successful years so far. This link has led me to write this book you are now listening to. My arrogance and passion have combined to decide the world must know about the secret link between comics and the military. There's no better way to illustrate this than to examine the comic book superheroes who have served. Why did they put it all on the line for their country? What does their wartime experience tell us about them? How does it inform their comic book adventures? All that led me to the simple truth. I would have to create an epic list worthy of the U.S. Armed Forces. Sadly, I had to limit my list to the United States. While there are many comic characters who served in foreign armies, I only have expertise in my home country. How does one compile a list of 16 comic book service members to write about? It was not a simple task, although the first choice for this list is one that I hope all comic book fans can agree on. It's not Superman. He never served. That Kansas farm boy decided writing newspaper articles was more important. The most obvious choice for this book is Captain America. He is not only a comic book character, but such a true blue soldier. He dyed all his clothes in the colors of the American flag and earned himself the prestigious honor of being the subject of my first chapter. I compiled the rest of the list by pulling everything from the clear choices to the unknowns who had served in alternate or previous versions of their origins. All of these characters have harnessed the principles and fortitude learned in service to this great country of ours to better protect the people as costumed heroes. Yet not all comic book soldiers are honorable people. Sometimes they fall. Sometimes their missions overseas never end and can affect their mental well-being for their entire life. I want to dive into these men and women too. These characters are some of the best, just as some are examples of the worst. This book will strive to examine the ways in which comic books portray soldiers, Marines, airmen, and sailors. It strives to shine a light on how some comic book readers may see soldiers through the lens of their funny book pages. It will illuminate how their service can be used in a positive light, a way to enforce and increase a character's heroic nature. It will prove that these two professions create a kind of simpatico. Please enjoy this mixtape of comic book characters who began their heroic or villainous careers as service members. I sincerely hope this examination will affect you and bring clarity to the great sacrifice many service members take on when they enlist in the armed forces. Those men and women are the true heroes, and I find it fascinating that their traits have been used to propel the fictional superheroes on many panels throughout numerous comic pages. Chapter 1. Captain America, the Perfect Soldier. We know Captain America like we know the American flag. We may not personally know all his stories or his ideals, but we can all see the design of his costume clearly in our minds. The tiny wings.